At this time, I'd like to introduce our moderator. Don Jones is a professor with Cuyamaca College and a native San Diegan. He began his water industry career working as a lake aide with the city of San Diego in July of 1965. He currently teaches several courses in water and wastewater technology programs at Cuyamaca and has been involved in their Center for Water Studies for more than 35 years. Don, over to you.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone, and we're going to talk a little bit about careers in the water industry and what those look like, and talk a little bit about the community colleges, what their role is. We're very fortunate here in San Diego County. We've got two community college programs. Then we're going to have a couple panel discussions that have different employees from within the industry that will be sharing their stories with you, and then we'll have some time for a Q&A at the end. This is a really, really exciting time. I know it sounded funny when, or weird when Alex said that I started in 1965, but I will tell you that in the last 50 plus years, this is one of the most exciting times in our industry that I've seen, because there's so much going on. We just got a 50 million gallon a day seawater conversion plant up and running. We've invested heavily in our infrastructure so that we're in better shape than anybody else in the state of California as far as water, because of the investments that we've made. We're moving towards the pure water program, where the city of San Diego hopes to have 50% of their water is going to be used, what is made up of wastewater that's been reclaimed. Lots of new technologies, and so it's really exciting. Everything is going on. So you're at ground zero and looking at a possible career in an industry that's really exciting right now. We do have a lot of significant issues that we're looking at. Obviously, most of us are aware of the climate change, the fact that our infrastructure is getting old and overtaxed. One big problem that we have that most people don't think about is that we use 20% of all electricity in the state of California is used to pump and treat water. So we're a heavy energy producer. So now we've actually gotten into the energy production business in some cases. And last but certainly not least, what we're talking about today is workforce sustainability. We've for many years we've had a thing that we call the silver tsunami, where they're talking about people who look like me with gray hair or not much hair leaving the industry, and that's really happening a lot now. So we've I guess the best way that we can say it is that the silver tsunami has made landfall in Southern California. We are losing people all of the time. Agencies now are recruiting 15 or 20 different positions within a year, whereas it used to be one or two. We're losing a lot of critical skills. There's a lot of change going on. And one of the problems for that is that we have only 3% unemployment in this county right now, and there's 9 to 10% turnover in the water wastewater industry. So this is if you're trying to get into this industry, you're well positioned right now. And so we'll talk a little bit about how the community colleges can help you get into that. The water industry here in San Diego County employs about 4,500 people. So 3.3 million people here in San Diego, without even knowing about it, rely on 4,500 of us that provide water and sewer services. So if you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and flush a toilet, or get up to take a shower at 5 in the morning, our water workforce is there. In California, our workforce answers the need about 1 billion times a day. Somebody turns on water or flushes the toilet. So we're there all the way around. And so it's something that everybody is concerned about. It's a 7/24, 365 a year operation. And so nobody really thinks about it, but we impact every single person's life every single day. These jobs are great, and I say jobs, that really should say careers, because they aren't jobs. Once you get into the water industry, most people end up retiring from this industry. We lose very few people leaving and saying, oh, I'm going to go back into retail, or I'm going to go back into manufacturing. Once you get into the water and wastewater field, most people end up retiring. And they do because it's great pay, benefits, you're serving your community, you're doing work that's really important, you're building skills, there are career opportunities and promotability. So, I mean, it's just a great career pathway. As I mentioned, the California community colleges are an integral part of this because about 60% of the jobs in this industry don't require a college degree, even an associate's degree. It's more driven by industry certifications and experience. And so the community colleges are the place that you need to be attending if you're trying to get into this industry. The fastest way to get in is to take community college classes and earn your certifications from the industry. There's about 20 different industry certifications, and the classes that are taught at Palomar and at Cuyamaca will prepare you to take and pass those certification exams. All of our classes are taught at night, and they're very cost effective. And both Palomar and Cuyamaca are very well regarded in the water and wastewater field as great programs. Our program at Cuyamaca, just give you kind of some of the highlights. It's the oldest program in the state. It started back in 1960 at San Diego Junior College. It's also one of the most comprehensive. We offer 7 different what we call areas of specialization. So you can do water treatment or wastewater collection. So there are all these different pathways that you can go. Our classes, unlike the ones at Palomar, they're on a standard semester. We're on a half semester. So we change our classes every 8 weeks. So it's a program that's been around for a long time. We've got 1 full-time faculty right now. We're hiring another. So lots of experience. We teach basically the how to do it in this industry. Over the last 5 years, our college has invested over $3 million into this program. We have our own building with four basically classrooms that's set up. So we have a lab, we have a shop, we have 2 regular classrooms. The industry has donated a ton of money in the way of equipment and cutaways and that kind of stuff. So we're trying to make sure that you're exposed to the latest technologies. Another thing that we have that nobody west of the Rockies has is we have what we call our field operations skills yard. Our emphasis is on giving you hands-on skills and teaching you the actual tools and the job skills that you'll need to do. And so we basically took and built an above ground water distribution system that allows our students to take apart pipe, work on valves, cut pipe, do all of the entry-level jobs that you'll do in this industry. So our emphasis is on hands-on skill building. So now that the campus is reopening after the pandemic, we're really excited about providing opportunities for you to come and learn how to do this stuff rather than just learning about this stuff. We also have recently really spent a lot of time and effort on our curricula. We now have built career pathways and stackable certificates. We've incorporated career readiness skills, so you'll learn how to take an interview and write a resume, those kind of things. And the other thing that we have in the works right now is we're in the process of applying to have a bachelor's degree in waterworks management. So if you've been in your career for 10 or 15 years and the next job requires a bachelor's degree, instead of having to go outside, you can stay within the community college system and get your bachelor's degree from Cuyamaca. Other thing that is kind of a hallmark that we're really proud of is instead of just waiting for whoever shows up, we actually recruit. So we're at military recruitment events, we're at women's events. We've started a thing called Women in Water. We've held symposiums for the last 5 years. We just last month had our first Warriors to Waterworks military career day. We are actively looking for people to come into this field. Alex?
Yes, sir. I think that was your last one.
I believe so.
We'll go over to Jacob.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob. I'm the Water Technology Program Coordinator at Palomar College, located in San Marcos, right here in North County. So welcome. This is an awesome event. I just wanted to kind of add to what Don has kind of been saying. There's a lot of opportunity in this industry for you, and joining a water technology program, taking classes, getting hands-on experience, getting certs is a great way for you to dive into the industry. Whether you're just getting started, maybe you're a career changer, or whether you're already in the industry and you're looking to get into a different field, or you're looking to work your way up, the opportunity you have at these community colleges like Palomar and Cuyamaca provide invaluable experience. So I just have a couple different slides here of different kind of classroom activities. Our program as such right now is running as a hybrid program. So we do have in-person classes, online classes, and classes that have both of those components. So we try to kind of open up that schedule to provide for students who maybe can't get into campus or coming from a little far away, don't want to make the drive. We do have in-person classes as well, though, for those looking at that experience. Similar to Cuyamaca, it's really about the students, and we work on a lot of recruitment. We try to bring in really qualified, smart, hardworking folks to bring into the water industry, because there's a great need now, and that need, as Don mentioned, with all the retirements, is only going to grow. And it's a very exciting time to be in the industry and time to get into the industry. So all of you that are interested, I encourage you to seek out your local water agencies and those that are around you, and see if you can kind of volunteer, see if you can intern, see if you can find an operating and training position, take advantage of any kind of tours they have, any kind of open houses they have, to network with those around you and find out what it is that we do, right? There's so much that water agencies do. It's hard to figure that out in just a 1 hour stint, but coming to today's talk is going to be a great introduction to that. You're going to hear from some great folks and kind of how they got into the industry and what they do. So sit back, listen, enjoy the ride, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Jacob. So I would like to introduce Gretchen Spaniel from the San Diego County Water Authority, and she has a panel of Water Authority employees who are going to tell you a little bit about their pathways. And Gretchen has been in the public sector for better than 20 years and has been at the Water Authority for a number of years. And she's been, in addition to being their special project managers, she's been very instrumental in getting our San Diego consortium. So instead of each agency working by itself, we're working collaboratively. And so Gretchen has spearheaded that effort. So she's got lots of really good information for you to share with you. Gretchen.
Well, great. Thank you, Don. And I'm so excited to be here. And I see a lot of people in the chat from Oceanside and Vista and all over. So we're really excited. So now that you've kind of got a taste of the water industry, like Don said, we have a regional consortium at san diego waterworks.org, and I'll talk more about it, but it's really a one-stop shop to look at all water industry jobs and internships and everything. So I wanted to introduce our first panelist. This is Sammy Swice. He's an engineer PE at the San Diego County Water Authority. And he's going to be going a little bit into detail about his background and his career path. So I'm going to turn it over to Sammy.
Thanks, Gretchen. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here to kind of talk about a little bit about my journey into the water industry. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was really speaking to what Don and Jacob mentioned earlier, is how I got into this field was really partially because of how good the professors that I had at college and university. I went to San Diego State, and specifically with the water and hydraulics, they drew me into that field, and that's what got me kind of my feet into the industry. And then I became curious about what that looked like, and I started doing some research and learning about that stuff. And then when I learned about the Water Authority, I realized one of the things is they're providing a service for the entire county of San Diego. And Gretchen, if you can share the screen so I can show them the map that we deal with. So you can see, we're not just focused on like one specific area in San Diego. We're looking at the entire county of San Diego. It's made up of 24 member agencies that rely on us for reliable water. We have these two major aqueducts made up of pipelines 1 and 2, and then which are on the east side, and then kind of on the west side of the two north and south pipelines, it's 3, 4, and 5. And you can see we cover a pretty, everything from Fallbrook all the way down to Otay. And what you really, learn is that you're doing this for a bigger cause. You want to be able to have the safe and reliable water to to San Diego, and it's something that really motivated me. Is that it's something that a sense of accomplishment really when you're doing that. So that's kind of my take on working at the Water Authority, and especially even in the water industry. I think every agency has kind of the similar like idea of working to something better and improving water reliability and having that ability to deliver the water to all people at any time, at any moment. And then next slide. And just kind of to show you a little bit of, in terms of the scale, these are pumps that were used at the desalination plant in Carlsbad. And you can see they're pretty large pumps. These were done in 2000, I want to say 2019, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And right now they're currently installed at the desalination plant and are in operation. So one of the nice things of what I do is I get to, go out and go to the sites and look at some of the things that are being installed out there, and the sheer size and scale of some of these equipment is huge. So I just wanted to share that and kind of give you an idea of what we what we deal with on a daily basis. And the next slide. And so what I specifically do, so I'm an engineer PE in water resources, and I'm part of a group called the Facilities Planning Group, and that is really the first step in the engineering process that we have at the Water Authority. What we do is we look at the conceptual and maybe a little bit of preliminary design. We do a lot of coordination with with different member agencies whenever we're planning to build any kind of new facility or infrastructure. Lots of coordination with the different aspects, so right of way or environmental. I think coordination is huge throughout all the processes you see, but the earlier you start with this kind of coordination, the less complications you have as you go through the engineering process. And so at the Water Authority, we go from planning to design. And once you're in design, this is where you kind of get into a little bit more detail and the more, nuts and bolts of engineering, calculations, hydraulics, all the fun stuff that engineers like to do. And then always keeping in mind the other stakeholders in the project, such as operations and maintenance, environmental and right of way, and then keeping also any agencies that may be affected by this, or keeping them also in the loop. So there's a lot of coordination throughout these processes. And then finally, after you're done with design, you go into construction, and in construction, it's a matter of, reviewing documents, submittals from the contractor, specifications, being at the site, making sure everything is, following what the design is as much as possible, obviously. But one thing you'll learn if you get into this field is sometimes what you have on paper doesn't necessarily match what you have on the field, and you just have to do the best you can and be flexible and adaptable to these kinds of situations. Next slide. And then kind of in terms of certifications and maybe associations that you'd want to consider if you find that you want to work in, as an engineer in the industry, is you want to first get your EIT, which is the engineer in training. This is kind of the first step that you need in order to get to the next one, which is the PE license, the professional engineer's license. These are critical if you want to, I would say, go down that field of engineering. It's almost a must at this day and age. It's also kind of separates you from other non-licensed engineers. I think it's also gives you a hand in the an upper hand in the industry. I think it's very critical for advancing your career as well. And then some of the associations that I like and I'm associated with is ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers. It's a great way you can be a part of this as in terms of the chapter while you're in college. And it's a great way to network and get to meet people that are in the industry. Could open a lot of opportunities and doors. That's kind of how it worked out for me. Met some people in the industry, and they kind of informed me about the Water Authority when I didn't know anything about it at the time. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. The other one is AWWA, American WaterWorks Association, just dealing with anything water related, informational, technologies, anything related to what's advancing in the water field is a great way. And then lastly, WUCA, which is Water Utility Climate Alliance, that has a little bit of environmental and how climate change, and obviously we know there's a lot of impact that the climate has and how that affects water infrastructure and water utility. So I think these are just some of the associations I wanted to share with you all, just for you to keep in mind in case you want to get into the field. And then lastly, what I wanted to cover before I end this is my advice is to anyone who wants to get into the water field is, do your research, learn as much as you can about whatever agency or whatever type of, whether it's water or wastewater, and get a feel for it and learn about and use any of the resources that are out there, because I think there's a lot, as Don mentioned and Jacob did, like Palomar College, Cuyamaca College, they all have these facilities for you that will teach you what exactly you need going into that industry.
Thank you, Sammy. Yeah, if you ever have any questions about positions in water people love to talk about water. So it's one of those things where if you have questions about career paths or different industries, this is definitely an industry where we like to talk about it and share our knowledge. Well, thank you, Sammy. And I think we'll do any questions and anything that comes up in the chat at the end, but thank you so much. So now I'm going to introduce our next speaker, and this is also a different career path, but also with the San Diego County Water Authority. This is Austin Casey, and he's a system operator too at our organization. So Austin?
Thank you, Gretchen. As Gretchen stated, my name is Austin Casey, system operator 2 with the San Diego County Water Authority. Work in the operations department, and jumping off what Sammy just showed, I don't have any cool slides like he does, but I pretty much have to facilitate, move the water through the facilities that engineering has created. So I'll start with my career path. So really, I've been in water about 15 years now. I started, I was doing grocery at the time and looking for other avenues. I actually got on with SDG&E as a meter reader, call-in part-time. Wasn't paying the bills at the time, so I ended up going back to grocery. And I saw an ad, Rainbow Water District was hiring. So with my little bit of meter reader experience I had, I used that to kind of my advantage, and got in at Rainbow Water District to start my career in water. So from there, once I got in, I didn't have any certs yet, but I went right to school with Palomar and started obtaining my the classes, and then got my certifications. And a recommendation is once you start getting your certs and you do get your foot in the door and get in the industry, is to keep going and getting your levels of certification, because everything's fresh in the mind as you're going through school and learning on the job once you do get in. So it helps you just to obtain the higher level of certification. And depending on what you want to do in the water industry, like as far as like system operations, there's different levels of certification you need as you move up. But jumping back to my path from Rainbow, I jumped to the city of San Clemente for about 6.5 years there. It was a learning process. I got to learn a new system. I got to work from construction to valve maintenance from meters to system operations, where I ended up. And then I applied for Vista Irrigation District for a water quality operator job, and ended up going to Vista for 1.5 years. And once again, it wasn't like I'm going on bad terms. These were all career moves. I knew at some point I wanted to get to the Water Authority where I'm at now. So again, another point is sometimes you have to get in, take a job. Once you get your foot in the door, that's the hardest part. So just getting in is key. So your career path can change as you do go through your water career. So from, where was that? VID, then I jumped to South Coast Water District back up in Orange County. where I was familiar with the City of San Clemente system, and they had a transmission part of their system, kind of like the Water Authority has transmission, but on a smaller scale. So I got some experience there with help, which helped me obtain getting a job here at the Water Authority, where we operate large diameter pipelines and move all the water into the county and facilitate delivering water to all our member agencies. So starting as a meter reader and getting to where I am now, I had it's called a nomad for a while because I did jump around, but it was all on good terms. But I got to network and meet other people along the way. So from Orange County, down to the border now, got to meet different operators and different engineers and everybody in the water industry. So it was all on good terms, but it was an interesting path to get to where I'm at. And I could say that I'm at home now. So just to touch on the certification again, just example, system operator 2 here, you need a D3 and a T2 minimum. And like I said, it's always good to go above and get your other certifications to move up. What I like about my job in the organization is our group, the camaraderie we have in our group. We work a lot of hours. So sometimes when you get in the industry, you don't realize water flows 24/7 and it doesn't magically appear at your tap. And you work with customers on, like when I work for cities and districts, you go out to field calls, water quality calls, and some people are mad at you a lot of the time because the water's off or this and that, but it's not just magic that the water shows up. So you kind of have to explain to them how the water gets there and the process involved. What was I going to? So with that, the variety of job duties that I have makes me excited to come to work every day. From running the system to, we get out in the field, we do water quality sampling, we do water quality analyzer maintenance. Like Sammy showed on our slide, we go basically from Fallbrook down to the border. So we have a large district and area to cover. So there's always something new to learn. We got hydroelectric facilities that we operate. So it's a very interesting job and why I wanted to get to the Water Authority.
You forgot one thing, Austin. You also have to deal with engineers like me as well.
Well, that's our biggest battle. They build it, but we have to operate it. So
Yeah, they walk away. Yeah.
They design it, you have to make it work.
yeah, they're at home sleeping. We're out 3 in the morning. But we do have a good relationship, I think, for the most part with the engineering group, and we're working together quite well these days. So it's good. Any other topics you'd like me to touch on?
But I just had one comment, and that is that when he says they operate these aqueducts, we're talking about pipelines that are bringing 500 to 600 million gallons of water to San Diego County a day. So this is not plumbing that you normally think of. These are huge facilities that everybody depends on. So what the job that he has is critical to San Diego.
If for, let's say, a district and city that I used to work for, an 8-inch diameter main, 8 to 12 inch, right? You typically see here we're dealing with 108 inch. So it's there's a lot more involved in with the large diameter pipes and the damage that could be caused if we don't do our job right 24/7. So there's a lot of responsibility. That's why with our group, we keep things light. And I don't know if you heard the chicken in the background. They're trying to get me off key here, but the camaraderie we have, you got to keep it light when there's such a serious aspect to your job. So that's probably the biggest thing I've got here is the group camaraderie. So
It's almost like you're the air traffic controller of delivering all of this water. So it's a very stressful job, and that's why it's so good to have like a intact team that works and around the clock.
Yeah. And
as an engineer, I think one of the things that it was my job is to understand how the operators work and how, what challenges that they have. And that's something that we're constantly trying to improve on is, being able to, understand from their point of view what they're seeing, so that when we do design things, it's not just something that makes sense on paper, but it's something that makes sense in when you apply it actually out on the field. So that's one of the big, I think, things of working early on in my area, which is planning, is working with the operators at an early stage, so we can kind of iron out all those, all that information.
If there's anything between Sammy and Austin that you would have done differently in your career, would you have done anything differently?
It's tough to say because I got here when I did, but maybe, I mean, everything happened for a reason. But there was maybe a couple openings, maybe I threw in my name in the hat earlier, but I think with my background and what I learned at other agencies, it definitely helped me become the operator that I am today, just getting the different experience. So I guess I wouldn't change anything at this point.
Yeah, sometimes for me, actually, sometimes you got to have a little bit of luck on your side, because I started off as in the private sector in water and wastewater in a consulting, and I wasn't really looking for kind of another job or anything like that, but it just so happened that a position at the Water Authority happened to be open in the time where I started thinking about looking for something else. And then at the same time, we did a small project for the Water Authority at that time. So I had familiarity with the Water Authority, and I did a little bit more, like I said, I did a little bit of research on the Water Authority, learned about benefits and what are some of the things that they've done work-wise, and it just kind of fell in, I want to say fell into my lap. I obviously had to, I had like multiple interviews and everything, but it just sometimes timing and luck play a part in getting into some of the things that you really want. But I think to Austin's point is, if you can get your foot in somehow, do that and then work your way to your goal.
Yeah, and I think any experience is good experience, and the internship that the Water Authority has now too is also a great tool. You get to go around to different agencies, and when you come here, you get to go through all of most of our departments and see what we do. So the internship is also a good tool. And then just be persistent, keep applying. The more interviews you do, the better you're going to get too. I'm not the greatest interviewer, never been, but you just have to kind of stay persistent, as I said, and keep applying. And like Sammy said, do your research, because a lot of time in the interview, if you have some knowledge on that agency, they see that you're engaged and you did some homework. So.
Yeah, Gretchen, can you tell us a little bit more about the process and about what's going on at CWA? Because there's lots of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, that's a good segue to kind of the process on how you get a position. So just an overview, San Diego WaterWorks is a website that's a part of a regional consortium. So if you're looking for a job anywhere within San Diego region, all of those positions are posted on this one-stop website. We also have a lot of information about our internship program, resources, mentorship. There's a kind of a snapshot on career paths. So if you're looking for what the typical qualification guidelines are for an engineer or a system operator or an asset management specialist, it's on this one-stop website. So I encourage you to attend it. All of the jobs are listed here, and you can kind of search by job or search by location. And like as someone said before, there's so many wide variety of positions in the water industry. If you're looking for a more administrative role or something in finance, human resources, IT, we've got it. So if you're not interested in more of the operational, the operational technical side, there's always a career path for you. And I really encourage you to kind of dig through and look for opportunities to kind of get your foot in the door, like Austin and Sammy mentioned, to really enjoy the water industry. So when you talk about kind of a typical hiring process and how you get to a position, Sammy mentioned there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. So it is a little bit different than the private sector. There are a little bit of things you have to go through. And this is just kind of a really quick snapshot on the time frame. It can often take 5 to 10 weeks on a good day if to get through the whole process. So I encourage you to be patient as public agencies review. There's a lot of criteria that we have to establish and make sure it's a standard recruitment process. So there's different things that you can go through. So I'll just kind of the top point is you want to look at your qualifications. Certifications, as Austin mentioned, there's distribution certifications, D1 to D5, treatment certifications, T1 to T5, and you can get more information about that at waterboards.ca.gov. There's additional certifications, the AWWA certifications, and there's a website for that. But really, when you're looking at the job posting, you want to look for the key phrases, whether it's an entry level or a more journey level position. They'll look for phrases about whether it's a preferred qualification or highly desirable. But I encourage you to apply for positions or call the HR department to get more information. Most of the time, a college degree is not required for many of the positions. Like as many of the panelists mentioned, the water technology courses could be required at a later date to get the advanced certifications at Palomar or Cuyamaca. But usually for those higher level positions in the professional roles like engineer or finance, a college degree would be required at that point. So a lot of times we do a screening of your application. Once you go to San Diego WaterWorks.org, find a position, it'll take you to another website that most all public agencies use called Government Jobs. And then we can screen for your minimum qualifications. So you want to make sure you enter completely in the application on all of your education and experience. It often have supplemental questions about additional certifications or licenses that you might have. And that's an additional thing that's used to screen. I just want to be sure that when you do your application that everything is really clear and complete. Please pay attention to grammar, capitalization. Don't say see resume or cut and copy from your resume. It's really important that all those documents are really complete. And oftentimes it's, a cover letter or resume isn't required as an attachment, but just check the job posting. Any kind of letter of your recommendations or certifications, those will be handled at a later process. And then once your application has been screened in to continue, you might have an assessment or a test. So this might be an in-person or online. We're doing most of them online now. It might be related to knowledge, language, math, or computer skills. If it's an administrative role, we might test on Outlook or Excel or something like that. For a lot of the operational tests, we'll do field tests, and that might be kind of in the field of electrical assessments or operation of backhoes, just to make sure that you have the field demonstration that you can use those things. And then sometimes there'll be online tests to do aptitude assessments or skills tests. So like Sammy alluded to, it can kind of be a process to get through, but I just want to kind of get the expectation that it's a really clear-cut process, and I hope you encourage you to talk to the HR department to make sure you understand the process from start to finish. But when you get to the interview, you might have a panel interview, so that you could come to a interview and there might be 3 or 4 people on the other side, and maybe from different agencies or from the agency that you're interviewing for. So just some really quick interview tips as you go through it. And like Austin mentioned, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And you just listen carefully to the questions. Might be looking for specific examples of how you demonstrated the skill or qualification that they're looking for. You can tell a story, but be concise. We encourage you to practice. There's always going to be that initial question of, tell me how your skills, qualifications, and education prepare you for this role. You want to have that kind of under your belt and practice really well so that you feel calm going in and have that first question kind of ready on the spot. We like to reference the STAR method anytime you answer a question related to your background or education or experience. And that's just the acronym situation, task, action, result. So you frame the situation, describe the task or goal that you were working on, describe the specific action you took and the results that you achieve. So the situation might be there might have been budget cuts. You were tasked with saving money. The action you took is you developed different, more efficient ways in developing these specific tasks, and it resulted in a 10% savings. So kind of conceptualizing your role will really help the interviewee understand what you did. And then when you want to follow up, so it's different for every agency, but go ahead, feel free to ask them how you should follow up, if you should wait or check in within in a week or so. Sometimes an agency will have a complete selection process and identify more than what they're willing to hire, and you'll be put on an eligibility list. And that'll be really useful for the next time you'll kind of be on the top of the list, and you'll have already gone through kind of all of the hoops to be on the top list for future openings. But not all agencies do that. And then once you get that, you'll have a contingent offer, and that might be contingent on passing employment education verification. It might include a pre-employment physical or drug screen. It all depends on the position you're going for. And then you'll be selected for, be confirmed and have instructions for your first day. So all of that is about 5 to 10 weeks. So just want to have clear expectations of the water industry, but we've got internships that are paid internships available that are available on our San Diego WaterWorks.org website. And that's a really important program that if you're taking water technology courses at Palomar or Cuyamaca, you have the opportunity to rotate from jurisdiction to jurisdiction and really get a really wide breadth of experience and to see what kind of field you want to get into, or the size of agency. That's also important to understand if you really like being at a small agency or you prefer a larger agency. But all in all, this is a critical need in our water industry, and we really need you in the industry. And so I encourage you to check out our website, and we'll be available for questions. Alec, I don't know if you're going to monitor the Q&A or.
You bet, will do. And so ask your questions for the city of San Diego, and Dawn, if you want to transition, we'll.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to welcome Cassandra Reed from the city of San Diego from the Public Utilities Department. Hello, Cassandra. And she's going to share with us what's going on at the city of San Diego with their workforce. She's the human resources manager for the water utilities department there at the city of San Diego. And so she'll be kind of looking at that whole thing that Gretchen's talking about. How do we recruit and fill these positions, those kind of things, from the city's standpoint. And she also has 3 of her employees here that are going to share their career journeys with you.
Okay, thanks, Don. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here, happy to be a part of this career fair. I'm Cassandra Reed, and with me, I have Doug Campbell. He's a deputy director in the Public Utilities Department. I also have Freddie Porter, who is a water systems district manager, and also Timothy Jesse, plant technician supervisor. So together, we're just going to be sharing with you what it's like working for the city of San Diego, and just to hopefully be able to put the city of San Diego as an agency, as a place to work. Just to give you a little brief background for myself, I'm currently in HR. Well, I've been in HR with the city for almost 7 years now. I started with the city of Riverside as an intern, and then I came as a management trainee with the city of San Diego. I want to emphasize the importance of the internship programs. Like, do not underestimate the opportunity that you may have to start as an intern, because that really does provide good experience for you to actually start and get your foot in. I was able to start with the city as a management trainee, and I've had the opportunities over the years to really progress in my career. And San Diego, being known as America's finest city. I find that it is a great place to live. It's a great place to work, and we are hiring. We're always hiring. So I really do want you to think of the city of San Diego as a destination, as a place, an employer of choice. Currently, we have about 95 vacancies that are open to just about anyone. There are promotional opportunities, but those are only open to current city employees. So when you do go to the website, just focus on what it says current open vacancies. I want to clarify also that the city of San Diego has a personnel department and also a human resources department. A lot of agencies only have one. It's just known as the HR department, but there's a distinction. The personnel department handles all the hiring processes, and everyone that submits an application, you have to be placed on a list. Again, it's the public sector hiring is just different from the private sector. There's just one centralized place. You have to submit your application. Good, thank you for putting that website there, Alex. So you go to the city of San Diego, you go to sandiego.gov, and the link is there for, current employment, current city jobs, and you want to go to the open jobs, not the promotional, and you'll be able to filter and to see all the current vacancies that we're recruiting for. And if there's a position or if there's a job you're interested in, but we're currently not recruiting for that, you're able to submit an interest list, a card. So you can fill out a card, and then you'll be notified when that recruitment opens up. So again, I'm going to turn over to Doug for him to present to you information specific to the Public Utilities Department, and just to highlight, careers with the Public Utilities Department.
Okay, thank you, Cassie, and thank you for letting me be here today. I'm here just to give you guys a brief overview of the many opportunities available with the city, the different kinds of jobs we have, and the scope of work that the city does. And then I'll turn it over to Freddie and Tim to let you know what it's really like to work for the city. I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's see if this is going over. You guys let me know if you can see my screen.
Great.
Okay. So just real brief on my career path. I've been with the city since 2000, aside from a brief stint with Sweetwater Authority. I started out as a chemist in the lab at the North City Water Reclamation Plant, where I worked for about 2 years. Then I moved to our larger wastewater chemistry lab at Alvarado for about 6 years. Then I moved over to the drinking water side. From being on the wastewater side, I moved over to drinking water, became the lab director for the city's water quality lab. And there it's our job to make sure that all of our drinking water across the city, both in our source waters, in our treatment plants, and in our distribution system, meets regulatory requirements and remains good quality throughout. There I did some interesting things like the Lead in Schools program, where we tested all 229 schools, public schools in San Diego Unified in 3 months for lead in 2017. And every year was responsible for making the annual drinking water quality report. After that, I went to Sweetwater Authority and was the lab director there for about a year. And then I came back to the city as the assistant deputy director in the water production division, which is where I help manage the city's lakes and 3 drinking water treatment plants. To kind of prepare for that role, I did take 2 classes at Cuyamaca, the first 2 water operator classes with Mr. Henry Palachek, and they are great classes and I highly recommend them. Full of useful information that I still use on a daily basis. And then I am now in my 2nd week as the deputy director for our new pure water operations division. We're responsible for building the team and learning to operate the new pure water facilities that are currently under construction. The city has over 11,000 employees. That's a lot. We're one of the largest employers in the region. It's not just for public utilities, it's for parks and rec and stormwater and all the many things that the city does. The city is a great place to work. We have competitive salaries, very good benefits. Our pensions are back, which is very encouraging. On top of that, we have good retirement plans. And, as a civil service employee, you have unions that represent you that help bargain for better pay and benefits and are an asset to both employees and the city. The Public Utilities Department provides water and wastewater services for all of the city of San Diego and a lot of the region, as I'll explain. And we have over 1,600 employees just in the public utilities department. We are big. Our drinking water system serves over 1.5 million customers, not just in the city, but we wholesale water to the city of Del Mar and to Cal-Am and Coronado and Imperial Beach. We have connections to the raw and treated water aqueducts that the County Water Authority provides. We work closely on a daily basis with the County Water Authority. Both of us operating our systems and coordinating how much water we're going to buy and what kind of water and all that. We also can get water from the city's 9 source water reservoirs. We own a number of reservoirs all throughout the county, all the way out to Lake Morena and Sutherland and El Cap, way out east. We have 3 drinking water treatment plants with 298 million gallons of total capacity per day. 2 of ours, Miramar on the left here and Alvarado on the right, each are bigger than most large city water treatment plants. I think that we're something like 7 times bigger than San Francisco and 5 times bigger than Seattle. We are a very large water system. It's also a very complicated one. Our life would be a lot easier if the city was nice and flat, but it's not. We are full of hills and valleys and mesas, and thus we have a lot of different pressure zones. And to manage all 136 pressure zones, we need a lot of pump stations and treated water reservoirs, pressure regulating stations. We have over 3,000 miles of pipes to take care of and connect to over 280,000 customer residences or businesses. And we need help maintaining all of this infrastructure. A lot of it is getting old, and a lot of times people don't think about it until something goes wrong. Here's some pictures from Thanksgiving of 2021, where we had a big pipe break in Balboa Park, and we ended up closing the 5 freeway through the S-curve downtown. Working in a water utility, you never know what your day is going to be. You're often dealing with emergencies or urgent needs that sometimes you plan your day and then you get to work and your day is nothing like what you anticipated. But it's always exciting to come together as a team and work towards solving problems. Our wastewater system is also very large, even larger. Our wastewater treatment plants serve 2.5 million people, not just in the city, which is the area in yellow on the map, but for much of San Diego County, Del Mar, Poway, all the way out to Alpine, all the way down south. All of their sewer system connects to the cities, and all of the wastewater is treated at one of our 3 wastewater treatment plants. We have the North City Water Reclamation Plant at Miramar in the 805, and the South Bay Reclamation Plant at the border, making recycled water, non-potable recycled water for irrigation and industrial uses. And most of it goes out to Point Loma, which is our large wastewater treatment plant. Just in the city, we've got 3,000 miles of sewer lines, 83 pump stations. It's over 330 square miles of infrastructure to maintain. And the water that goes through Point Loma goes out to the ocean through an outfall pipe. And so there's a lot of work associated with our ocean monitoring program, where we need to make sure that our treated wastewater is not impacting the environment. So we have a large ocean monitoring program where we sample critters from the bottom of the ocean and do examinations on their health and if they're different near our outfall versus far away from the outfall, and lots of other studies. The point of telling you all this is there are a lot of career opportunities with the city, from way up at Lake Hodges to down at the border, from the tip of Point Loma all the way out to Barrett or Sutherland. We've got jobs all over the city. We need staff to operate, maintain, and support our 3 drinking water treatment plants, our distribution system, our wastewater collection system, our 4 wastewater treatment plants, the 4th being our Metro Biosolids Center, and so many pipes. And so we have a lot of employees and a lot of vacancies because we have a lot of turnover and promotional opportunities for people to come join us. We also have a number of sort of jobs you might not expect or interesting other jobs, like our Lakes Recreation Program. We offer recreation opportunities at all of our reservoirs: fishing, boating, kayaking, hunting, some other lots of different activities, bike lanes and running lanes. Our environmental monitoring and technical services division is where all the scientists are. We have to make sure that our drinking water and wastewater meets regulatory requirements. We have over 120 jobs for scientists just in our environmental monitoring and technical services division. To make all this work, we need a lot of engineers. I think we have over 150 engineers in our department. We have a water meter services division, which is to make sure that we have meters that work and we read them at every connection that we own. And a large customer service division where we work with customers on their bills and questions and all that. So the point is that there's a whole array of diverse kinds of jobs with the city's public utilities department. And a lot more coming in the future. I think you heard earlier about our Pure Water program. It's the largest infrastructure project in the city's history. There's over $1 billion of construction happening right now on this, and it will be the first indirect potable reuse surface water augmentation project in the state, where we turn wastewater into a source of drinking water. It's going to go into Miramar Reservoir, where it's used by our Miramar drinking water treatment plant. And in the future, it'll provide half of our drinking water supply. And there's a lot of these potable reuse plants, as you probably heard, in development all across the state. And the operators require the new advanced water treatment operator certification. It's brand new and it's a huge field of opportunity for those that are just coming into the industry. You need either your water or wastewater certification, and then this third one added on, which not a lot of people have right now. And so it's a good opportunity for growth in the future. With that, I will turn it over to Cassandra to introduce our next panelist.
So I was just trying to get the volume here. Thanks, Doug. Tim? Hi, Tim.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody. How are you doing? Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on today. I am here to give you a little background of myself and some hope. I started out my career when I was in my early 20s. I have always been a mechanic my whole life. I was a mechanic whenever I was in high school. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And my mom and dad didn't know what I needed to do. So I proved to them that I didn't need to go to college, which I totally regret now. I thought I knew everything. At the time, I had a young wife. I married whenever I was 19. She was 18. And I ended up getting a job out with the geothermal plants by the Salton Sea. I grew up in El Centro, where it's about 120 degrees out there. And I learned pretty much so a lot of my stuff out there with the geothermal plants. We ran steam turbines, pumps, motors, alignments, you name it, we did it. I had the chance to operate cranes, boom trucks, a little bit of everything. I worked out there for many, many years, and my wife and I decided that we wanted to start a family, and we knew that we didn't want to raise a family in 120-degree weather. So we moved to San Diego. She got a job before I did. I interviewed with the city of San Diego for approximately, I believe it was 6 times before I got considered to getting hired. I'm a very persistent person. I knew that I wanted to work for the city of San Diego, America's finest city. I wanted to show them that I could be the best at what I grew up doing. I take a lot of pride in my work. I really enjoy my work. It's like Doug said, there's over 3,000 miles of pipe in San Diego County. And just to put that into perspective, that's if you run a pipeline from here all the way to New York. We're talking a lot of piping. So just to kind of bounce around a little bit, whenever I grew up, everything was old school. We didn't have email. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have Google. To get out and do the work and learn it, you actually had to get out there and physically do it. And one of the benefits that you guys have now is that you have all those things. You have Google, you have YouTube. When you hear somebody talking about how to do something, you can get on YouTube and you can find hundreds of ways to do something, to where whenever I was growing up, you know, you had to get out there and learn yourself and get it done. So basically, I'm a product of not knowing what I wanted to do when I got out of high school. And I kind of developed my path along the way. And by doing that, you know, that helped me kind of find that little niche that I liked, and in a way of being a mechanic and being able to help out. It's a great career working for the city of San Diego. I don't regret ever coming to work here. The one regret I do have is not coming to work here many, many years sooner. I started late in my life. I've been here for about 6 years now. I'm 55. And believe it or not, when I first started working here, the day I started working here, I never even knew how to email. So that should give you guys hope. I've learned how to email. I kept my head down. I learned my trade. I got really good at it, very persistent at it. I went from equipment technician 2 to plant technician 2. Then I promoted to plant technician supervisor, and I'm waiting for that next promotion to come along. And you just got to want to do it. You know, it's if you think you've given it your all, the last 10% of that 100% is what counts. If you're washing a car and you've polished that car and it looks so complete and shiny and done, if you sit back, you can always find that last 10% that's going to make it show quality. And that's what you have to do, is focus on that last 10%. And I hope that I can give you guys some inspiration to considering going to work for a municipality, the city of San Diego. And like Doug said and Austin said, there's many, many opportunities to work here. They're always hiring. You cannot go to any department and find anywhere that they are fully staffed. Everybody is understaffed. I'm understaffed in my section right now. So if you're looking for a career, this is a great place to consider. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to stay after at the end and try to give you some more hope. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Timothy. I appreciate you
Absolutely.
sharing your experience and what your journey has been like with the city.
Yeah.
We'll now hear from Freddie.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. I like everybody else. I started here when I was young, so I started here. I've been with the city for 30 years. I started off as a laborer. I mean, that's when like the city was in demand for people. It was transitioning like right now, that's what's going on. They asked, you know, they kept sending me letters, and I was like, I'm not gonna work for the city. So I finally came in as a worker, a laborer. Then I worked my way up to working on pumps, regulators, gate valves, pretty much everything that I didn't want to do. And then Reclaim came upon, like in 1998. I was like, oh, I like this. It was something different. The other stuff was boring me. I didn't like it. So from Reclaim, I went to the capital improvement program because they started a new program because all our pipes is failing. So from there, I've been in the capital improvement program for like 20 years. In between time, I went and got my associates in water and wastewater technology. I got my grade 2, and then my grade 3. I continue to work as a lead person out in the field, where you get all the pipes breaking, the one that Doug showed, something like that. But we had so many breaks at the time, so it was constantly, we were constantly working. You would never see home. And pretty much I got to build trust and kind of like became a family with everybody that's here. That's pretty much how everything happens around here. You become a family. With more persistence, I started promoting again, and I went back to school to get my bachelor's degree in management. And then from there, I got promoted to district manager. I said that you gotta have patience when you get here, open-minded to everything that you have. With construction also, because I've been in the field so much, that's pretty much all I know. I mean, you learn and see different things that's out there. You never know what you're gonna come out to when you start digging a hole. Don't know what else that I got right now. I forgot everything I was gonna say. Kind of nervous.
Well, I'd like to chime in a little bit, and that is that Freddie basically is the poster guy for what we're encouraging. And that is that, you know, to get your foot in the door, you take your certification exams, and once you get your certification exams, that makes you employable, and that opens that door for you. And like you say, you have to be persistent. But once you get your foot in the door, then you work on getting higher and higher levels of certifications. And then you go back and get a certificate of accomplishment. And then you get an associate's degree. And then if you wanted to move into a supervisor or management position, think about a bachelor's degree. Then the one beautiful thing about that is we call that learn while you earn. And that is that you're already working in the field. And what's happening is the more credentials you get, the more employable you are to move up the chain of command. And oh, by the way, all of your tuition that you're being paid for all of this college is all reimbursable by your employer. So it's basically free education from that standpoint. It's just putting in the work.
Put in the work. I mean, you pretty much should get everything back that you put into it. And if you find a good mentor, somebody to talk to help you along the way, I mean, stick with that person's going to help you out. I mean, because when I got here, I was kind of nervous. I didn't have anybody to really rely on. I was by myself. I was young, and it was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to continue to do. So I met someone, and he kind of like talked me through it, and he told me just stick with it, and then believe me, everything at the end, it come out and work out for you. So I just continue to do that. Like right now, I'm still kind of like nervous from the talking to a lot of people, even though you can't see me, but I just have this feeling like everybody's watching me. But once I get comfortable with you, I mean, I'm really comfortable. I can talk to anybody. But right now, it's just like whatever you can do. And then you know what? Also, while we're here, I think everybody's always trying to get the best product. That's our whole object, why we work for the water department, because we try to get the best product to everybody. We always trying to give good service. That's another thing. And me, I wanted to become a public servant. And so I changed my mentality, and I kind of like continue that. I got comfortable with talking to all the people, even though they come out and yell at you all night, talking about the water's off. And I mean, you get used to it, no matter what. But as long as you have calm and you get these people to understand, I mean, you'll build a whole bunch of trust along the way, and you'll meet a lot of people.
And if I could just build on something that Don said, you know, we have over 50 operators at 3 water treatment plants and over 100 wastewater operators at our wastewater plants. And a lot of times I know on the drinking water side, we are hiring people that still are not T2 certified. Maybe they've taken a class or they're registered for the test. If you are already certified or on your way, you are a good candidate to come in and be an operator for the city. And we will help you along the way by helping you with tuition reimbursement and classes as you advance in your certification. And similarly to what Freddie said, you know, sometimes you come in as a laborer and the city helps you get D2 and D3 certified. And you can career advance up several levels just with time and getting certifications and being a hard worker. You can career advance several levels into higher pay grades. There's a lot of opportunity once you just get your foot in the door.
One of the incredible things I think about this job is when you think about it, it is a career that you can take anywhere in the world. You're not limited to large cities. You're not limited to small cities. You can go anywhere in the world that you want. You can go to a town of 300 people and they have to have sewer. They have to have drinking water. You can go anywhere in the world. And it's a pretty incredible feeling to know that you have, you might want to say that power within you to be able to do that. Not anybody can do that, you know, and all it takes is just getting your foot in the door. If you have to get into park and rec, you get your foot in the door, and from there, like Freddie says, you can transfer from department to department to department. You can go anywhere in the city. You can do whatever you want. You can be a welder, park and rec, operator, engineer, mechanic, management, HR. There are so many possibilities.
Cassandra, do you have any closing comments for your panel?
Thank you so much for sharing, Timothy and Freddie and Doug. And just to encourage participants, like honestly, take a look at the sandiego.gov website. In the event that you do not see something that you're interested in at the moment, you do have the option to submit that job interest card, and so you will be notified. But do not underestimate the opportunities that are there, or even just starting out. Just get in and start out. Like each of us who are here, we're sharing our experience because we have been through it. As I started to share earlier, I started as a intern at the city of Riverside. Then I was able to, from that experience, my resume and my experience was attractive enough to get me started with the city of San Diego as a management trainee. I went to associate management analyst, senior personnel analyst, and then I went a little to the county of San Diego and came back to the city of San Diego, currently in the public utilities department. So the career opportunities are great. The progression is there as long as you do your part, apply. That's the beginning to start. And we hope that, this career fair has been informative for you. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer, we're here to guide, we're here to encourage, because each of us who are enjoying the careers that we have now, we started somewhere. We were in school, and then, we wanted that first job or that first opportunity. So do explore what options we have, and hopefully we'll see some applications coming in as a result of this career fair. So thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra. Hey, Alec, can you go back, I think, to my last slide?
Got it.
Okay, before we get into the Q&A, I've got to just kind of recap. First impressions count. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, there's only 4,500 people in this water and wastewater industry in San Diego County. So it's a very, very small, tight-knit group. And so your reputation that you make, good or bad, will carry forward for you. So once you get a job interview, or if you're in the internship program or any in your classes, you have to remember that all of the people that teach at Cuyamaca and at Palomar, all of them either currently or did work in the water and wastewater field. So if you're sloughing off and coming in late and, having behavior issues in the classroom, believe it or not, that may have an impact on your employability within this industry, because everybody is kind of networked together. Obviously the ones, be punctual, courteous, and respectful. Ask questions for clarification. Anytime that you're interacting with people, as Gretchen said at the very beginning, we're a fairly social group. Those of us who work in the water field are very passionate about what we do, and we are happy to share our information and our insights We're happy to take people under our wing and give them some advice and some direction. Like I say, I retired 15 years after 42 years in the industry, and I'm still helping out. I'm a volunteer. I don't get paid. But people, when I first started out, took me under their wing and headed me in the right direction and kicked me in the butt when I needed it. And so that's kind of those of us in their industry, we do pay back and we do pay it forward. I encourage you, if you do get a job or you do go for an interview, those kind of things, I encourage you to keep a journal, especially like your entry-level job, so that and one step further that I encourage everybody to actually have your own personnel file, both an electronic copy and a physical copy, so that anytime you apply for a job, anytime you submit a resume, print a copy out and keep an electronic file for yourself, so that as you move forward, instead of having to go, oh, well, where was I? When was I? What did I do? Who did I work with? What kind of equipment did I do? What kind of tasks did I do? You have that. And sometimes you kind of hone in those nice little short comments about this is what I did and this is what I did, kind of the star stuff, instead of having to reinvent that time. If you keep this stuff, you can kind of cut and paste and not make it hard for yourself, because it is a process and it does take time, and you probably won't get an interview or won't get hired on your very first shot. But you know, once you get your foot in the door, the last thing I would encourage you to do is invest in yourself. You know, with the stock market the way it is, it's crazy. If you get into this industry or want to get into this industry, take the classes, get the certifications, then get the certificate, then get the associate's degree. I will tell you, you don't think about it, but if you move up the chain of command like Freddie has and Austin has, if you increase your pay by $10 an hour by moving up 2 or 3 ranks, career advancing, if you project that out over your last, you know, your 30 or 35-year lifetime, once you get into your career, that translates into about $600,000 of future earnings by making yourself promotable, so that you can move up the chain of command. So invest in yourself. And last but not least, network. Make sure that you're out there, you're open, you're asking questions, and you're trying to jot down names and take somebody's name and their phone number and their email address so that you can get back in touch with them. If you want one last thing, if you want to see some other stories, success stories, if you go to the website there, San Diego WaterStories.com, there's probably 8 or 10 different videos that people have shared with us, insights about their career pathways. So I encourage you to use that as a resource too. So at that point, we have any questions that we can answer for you?
Yeah, Dawn, are you able to see the panel? There's one from Aaron that's a good one.
Yeah, it says, hello, I'm coming over from a pump company, sump pumps, booster pumps, commercial, residential. I'll tell you, any of the water agencies are going to love to have you, whether it's the Water Authority, the City of San Diego, a smaller agency. If you have mechanical skills, and especially if you have mechanical and electrical combination skills, you're worth your weight in gold. And again, if you're coming from a non-waterworks industry, I would encourage you to sign up and just take 1 or 2 classes, take the state certification exam. You take 1 or 2 classes at Palomar or Cuyamaca, you'll be able to take and pass your grade 2 water distribution operator certification instantly. Take another class, you'll be able to get your water treatment certification. And with those 2, with a background in mechanical aptitude, you will get hired.
Don, if I may throw this in, being here in the pump section, being the supervisor in the pump section, I can tell you right now that we have several openings for mechanics right now in our place. We're just waiting for those people with the qualifications to put the resume in and get that interview. So all they got to do is put the work in, put that resume in.
Okay, Rosemary, do positions in the laboratory open often, and would going through an internship program first be more beneficial? And the answer is, especially on the internship, is yes. We had one of our students whose background was working in the zoo. So she had a degree in zoology. She went through the internship program and because she was interested in working in the wastewater fields. She had a laboratory background, laboratory skills. And so she was just hired by Padre Dam and Santee to help publicize their wastewater reclamation plant over there. So yes, there are labs. In fact, Doug, you might be able to share some insights as far as lab openings.
Yeah, having worked in the city's environmental monitoring and technical services for about 20 years, we do have frequent openings. We probably hire for laboratory technicians 3 different cycles a year, for chemists and biologists 2 cycles a year, and for marine biologists usually once a year. You know, we usually were filling each of those times, you know, 4, 6, 8 positions at a time. There's a lot of opportunity with the city's labs. We're a lot larger lab than some of the other agencies in the area, which are often have 10 or less employees. We have, you know, in the drinking water lab, we have about 40, and on the wastewater side, about 50 or 60. We do provide a lot of services for other agencies in the county. So it's a lot of collaboration among the lab staff. Any drinking water labs are accredited by the state under the ELAP program. So the more you can understand about how to work in a certified lab following standardized methods and show how your experience and education would translate into following standardized methods, and you're going to have a leg up on the competition.
Another one, just to add to that, is the other entry-level job there is a field sampler, where they're going out and taking samples from the various water tanks and pipelines and stuff. And so if you don't have a bachelor's degree, but you're interested in a career in the lab, I would encourage you to look for the field sampler position, and having a distribution 2 certification would be helpful for you landing a job as a field sampler. And then you could go on and get your bachelor's degree or associate's degree or whatever you needed while you're already working, and move from the field sampling into the lab itself.
It'll be called laboratory technician on the city's website.
Okay. See, transferable credits, Samuel Smith. Yes, actually, that's an interesting question. Last year or 2 years ago, the state of California passed legislation that requires the state to give credit for service that was involved in water and wastewater while in serving in the military. I can answer that question more for you if you want to give me a sidebar call after this. We have at our college a program called Warriors to WaterWorks, where we're proactively trying to find people from the military to get into this water industry. So Kevin Mead.
Don, can I add to that real quick?
Sure.
So there are also credit for prior learning programs too, Palomar has. So you can take courses, experience that you've got from the military, apply that to classes to give you credit for those classes. So not just waive them, but give you credit toward your degree, and then eventually for those classes toward industry certification. So definitely check that out at your local community colleges as well.
Yeah, we're doing that at Cuyamaca. We're ramping up on that. And that's, for instance, also like if you already have a distribution 3 certification, we wouldn't require you to go back and take distribution 1 or distribution 2. So the idea is if you have applicable experience, or if you already have certifications in the industry, all of our community colleges now are trying to be more friendly to having you come back and translate that, and not have you start from the beginning and retake classes to cover material that you already know. Oh, I'd like to talk a little bit about Sergio. You have SCADA operations. Is there anything like this in the city of San Diego? And the answer is not only at the city of San Diego, but every single agency in San Diego County is actively looking for SCADA personnel. It's probably the most difficult recruitment that we're going through right now. So definitely reach out, start looking at the San Diego WaterWorks website that the County Water Authority maintains, because there are SCADA jobs and they come up on a regular basis. So you're in the driver's seat. Jasmine had a question regarding treatment or distribution certifications. And no, an associate degree is not required for either one of those. But the T3 in particular, you have to have a year of full-time paid experience to move from a T2 to a T3, and it has to be in a water treatment plant. And the same is true, you have to have full-time paid experience. So you can test up through a grade 2 treatment or distribution certification just by taking classes and qualifying by taking and passing the exams. But in order to move to the 3 level, you have to have field experience. Samuel Smith. Oh, I guess Austin is typing an answer for that because he went that direction. So that's great. Ocean monitoring. You want to take a stab at that one, Doug? Having a master's in biology.
Right. So our ocean monitoring program is highly desired. We tend to get a lot of applicants for there. I want to work there. You go on a boat every day, you catch fish, you get to look at the little critters. I would love to work there. So it can be hard to get into our marine biology program, but we do have a lot of positions for biologists, both the lab tech, and we have biologists that are not in the marine biology program. There you're testing water and wastewater and stormwater for bacteria. You're doing PCR work and other things. And just getting your foot in the door, there can become a lot of transfer opportunities to that marine biology program. So I would say any of the science positions with the city, and just let your career grow from there. Don't just focus on the marine biology one.
But even if you already are a biologist, then I would encourage you to go back to San Diego State or another 4-year institution that has specific marine biology classes, because as Doug says, everybody wants to be out on the monitor on the ocean, and they're out 220 days a year doing sampling stuff. So you're going to have to do some things to separate yourself from the crowd. So it looks like we have all of the questions taken care of. How about chat? How are we doing there?
Jacob and I have been busy in chat, Don. I think we got them all shared.
Okay.
I was going to just chat out. It's unbelievable. So Marine Sciences, Los Angeles County Sanitation, a little up here in the north, is looking for a boat captain for the Ocean Sentinel, a 40-foot monitoring boat that, like they were saying, like similar to San Diego, goes out every day. So there are over 212 different career paths, including boat captain.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it looks like we're approaching the 3:30 hour. So if anybody has any last minute stuff they would like, please throw it out to us. If any of our panelists or moderators have any closing comments they'd like to throw out there, please do so, and we'll get this thing wrapped up.
Okay, thanks for joining us. We will send out an invite to the recording, as well as career resources at Palomar, Cuyamaca, the city of San Diego County Water Authority, and San Diego WaterWorks. We want to thank our panel so much for joining us, and we will see you out there. See you in the trenches and in the treatment plants and fixing the pumps, and from the wastewater side in the grit bins and headworks. We'll look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.